can't really change what's happened in the past, so yeah, whatever happened for a reason.
Ryan Straschnitzki lost almost half of his teammates in the Humboldt Broncos crash. He was paralyzed from the chest down. Still, he doesn't blame the semi-driver who was charged today.
His intention wasn't to go out and hurt us that day, but, mistake obviously is going to change his life and change all of our lives.
His mother, though, is looking for more answers, even ways to make Canada's highways safer.
I'm glad that things are happening. I don't know what the end result's going to be, but it's a start, in my opinion.
A step closer to finding out what may have caused the collision that led to the deaths of 16 people and injuries for 13 others. The driver, Jaskirat Singh Sidhu, was arrested by the RCMP at his home this morning and charged with 29 criminal offenses, one for each person who was on the Humboldt Broncos bus.
I know it's been difficult for many to await the outcome of this police investigation. The time it took to do this work, this important work, was necessary.
Sidhu was previously detained by the RCMP and let go. He came to Canada from India on a student visa a few years ago. According to his LinkedIn profile, he studied business administration in Calgary, recently married, and began working for Adeshdiol Trucking 1 month before the fatal collision. Logan Boulet was one of the players who died. His mother is thankful the case is proceeding.
Our family is relieved and that this part of this journey is now done, and that the 29 charges have been, the 29 individual charges have been laid against this driver, and they are criminal charges.
The RCMP isn't releasing more details at this time about what may have caused the crash and what exactly led investigators to charge Sidhu. He remains in custody and is expected to appear in a Saskatchewan court next week.
Olivia joins us now from Regina. And Olivia, you actually spoke with the driver a few weeks ago before he was charged. What did he tell you at that time?
That's right, Rosie. Well, I spoke to Jaskirat Singh Sidhu, who goes by Jassy, earlier this month by phone. The conversation was brief. He didn't want to talk about what happened, but he did tell me that he's receiving support from his family and attending counseling. The conversation quickly ended after that, and I connected with one of his family members afterwards. I spoke to his wife about 2 weeks ago. She was upset at the time, and this has all been very hard for the Sidhu family. She referred me to a lawyer, and we connected with that lawyer again today, Rosie, and he isn't providing a comment at this time.
Okay, Olivia, thank you for your good reporting on this story. Appreciate it. We're going to get some more legal insight into this case in a moment, but first, it probably helps to lay out what we do know about the crash. The bus, as you may remember, was en route from Humboldt to Nipawin, traveling north on Highway 35 north of Tisdale. The speed limit there, 100 kilometers an hour. The bus then approached Highway 335, the intersection, which the truck was approaching from the east. The truck did have a stop sign. The bus did not. Visibility may have been an issue. We know a stand of trees partially obscured sightlines from the east and the south. The force of the collision sent both vehicles into the ditch at the northwest corner. Those are the facts. Now let's get some analysis. Tony Paisana is a defense lawyer, and he joins me now from Vancouver. Okay, let's go over some of the charges. 16 counts of something called dangerous operation of a motor vehicle causing death, and 13 counts of dangerous operation of a motor vehicle causing bodily injury. Give us a sense of what the threshold is for those kinds of charges.
So dangerous driving causing death involves what we call a marked departure from the regular standard of driving. So as opposed to what you might see in a civil lawsuit or even a regulatory driving offense, what you have to get to in order to get to this criminal charge is quite a marked departure from what a normal person would be doing in those circumstances. And when you're considering a charge like this, you consider all of the circumstances, be it the driving conditions, speed, everything.
Would lack of experience as a driver be part of that?
It would be sort of some of the background analysis for sure, but just simply being an inexperienced driver is not going to get you to the threshold of this sort of criminal charge. There has to be something, if you want to prove this charge, that goes beyond just that sort of characteristic. be it inattention, or not following the rules, speed. It can really be a number of things. It just kind of depends on the circumstances.
So once they've established that there's a marked departure, as you say, from what would be sort of normal driving in these circumstances, how long then does it take for them to get to the point where they lay these charges? Because it seemed to me like it was a long investigation. What would you say?
Interestingly enough, in cases like this is actually quite typical. In my experience, it's between 3 and 9 months where you see post-accident charges laid. And that's for a number of reasons. It can be because of accident reconstruction. It can be because you want to consult with experts. It can be that you're examining the evidence in detail. And in a crash of this magnitude, it's not surprising that it would take 3 months.
And you mentioned magnitude. I don't have much time, but how does the magnitude of the loss, the number of people killed, play into the charges and potentially whatever happens next?
It's an incredible tragedy, and I don't think anyone is going to dispute that. I think it plays a role, obviously, if we get to the stage of sentencing, in terms of whether or not charges should be laid or whether or not a person should be convicted. We coexist in a system where the result doesn't dictate what actually happened. They'll still have to prove the case. They'll have to prove that there was a marked departure. But certainly, in the event that there is a conviction, the number of deaths, the number of injuries, the tragedy will necessarily have to play a role in the case.
Tony Paisana, thank you.
Thank you.